Hi everyone, this is Mr. Fusion Designs and welcome to our channel. Today we are building the legendary kit from the series Knight Rider from Fanhome. This is pack 20 and we are starting from issue 75 until 78. So let's take a look at our magazine. To tell you the truth, this pack made me a little bit concerned over previous people building the hinges for the so let's see what we can do. So I'm gonna put my Partwork mat down because we're gonna be working on a part that we haven't worked on for quite a while. So it is this, and what I'm gonna do, because on the magazine it's quite difficult to see, but I got my phone and you could proper close up to see where exactly things need to go. So it does help a lot. So I suggest you, if you have any issues looking at the magazine, just download in the assembly guide in your Fanhome portal, and then you could do things like that. So it does help a lot, you can see. So I'm gonna open my pack and start installing. So we're going to just so this will just go like that. Let's see if we get some more close-ups. Perhaps we can hopefully see that. And with that, we're gonna need 2 DM screws. So these are DM screws. I dipped mine in a bit of oil. So that's screwed in place. To tell you the truth, I'm a bit intimidated about these couple of issues with the hinges and the light pop-ups. So let's see how we get on. Now we have to, let me just get this right. So we have this part. Let me just get it so you can see which way it faces. You can see it has a slight angle there, and we're gonna need to screw that one in the back, sorry, like that. So with that, we're gonna need some CM screws. And we have the other one just like that. Let me just get this a bit closer. Hopefully you can see which way this goes. And this goes on to the middle, just there, with another CM screw. Okay, now we have this strut, and it needs to go into the middle here, like that. So I'm gonna put a little bit of oil. After it's installed, I'll do a close-up. So that's in. I hope it's in the correct position. trying to make it as clear as possible for everyone, because I'm a bit nervous to tell you the truth. Okay, we have this part now. It's the R, and the part that we need to screw on is a strut. Now, I believe mine has a slight bend, so I'm not sure if that's as it should be, but I'm guessing it should go that way around. So I'm gonna get this on with a CM screw. Just dipping that a little bit in oil, and I'm putting mine through the hole first and then screw it in place. So I think that's now in position. Now, let me just close up. Like that. Now I believe you just need to slide this post through, and then we have these parts that we installed. I have to be, I believe, one just here and one there. So I'm gonna get our screws ready, so hopefully you can see that. So I think that's how that goes, but let's see. Let's screw it down and see from there. So these are 2 CM screws. I'm gonna try and get this in position, and hopefully we have done this correct. I am a bit nervous that I'm not sure if this is correct, but so far everything seems to be working. Now we need this part to go there. Let's put another CM screw. So that's now screwed in place. I believe so. Seems to be. So let's just see if this folds down. Okay, I think, goodness me, I think we did it. With relief. It's quite clever. So I believe that's how that goes. Seems to be working well. So yeah, I can't see this working any other way. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So let's get on with the other side. So we have this part again. It's like the strut, and I believe it just goes on this section, which is gonna be, let's just try raise this up, and hopefully we can get the screw in place. Okay, I think that's in place. Goodness me. So, yeah. So let's get on with the next one. So we have this part now. It's the left side. And with this piston, I don't know what they call this. I should read it really. Support rod. There you go. If I read it, then I know what it's called. So let's just get this screwed in place. So this was a CM screw. I'm not sure if I mentioned that or not. So again, just push this through. So that went through. And then with the parts that previously, I think this was very early on when we done this. So like the other side, just line these up. And we're gonna need, these are CM screws. So let's just get the first one in. Dipped with a bit of oil. So that's one. We have one more just here. Hopefully you can see that. So I believe that's our two sides installed, which they look to me correct and they work well. We have these LM screws and brackets left over, so I'm glad that's finally done. And let's move on to our next issue. Let me just move this out the way. So this is issue 76. That was a bit stressful for me last issue. I just wanted to get that right, and it made... Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm just looking through this. So it's just the windshield and taking these off. Okay. Oh goodness me, wow. So there's a lot to be done on this stage. Oh wow. Nice. So let's get on with this one. So we're back with our mat. We're gonna need our body back. So now we're gonna install our windscreen, but before that you can see there's this brace just there. You can see where my finger is. We're gonna need to remove that now. I kept it on as long as possible just to keep things straight, I believe, just to keep it without warping anything. So that's off now. Feels strange taking that off. Had it on since a long time. So now, I don't know if, can we see? I think number 2 camera is a bit too close up. So this is the windscreen. You can see I'm trying my best not to touch it as much. It just slides on there. Hopefully you can see that. And then line the bottom up. So it just clips in place. So that seems to be okay. Now we're gonna carefully turn it over. So let's just put our cables to the side for now. So we have our BP screws ready. I'm just gonna turn this slightly towards myself. Makes it a bit easier. So it's 1, 2, and 3 holes. Just put your finger just to keep it there. Don't over tighten these because that is plastic and it can crack. So just for now, take some of these fingerprints off. I'll do all that properly, but just to show you, I do try to keep it as clean as possible. So now we're gonna work on another part. So we have our part that we had from the previous issue. Now this is 75I and 75H. The H, 75H is L, 75i is the right one. So this is the right one. If you could see, this is the body. The right one will go like that, but with, let me just make sure. There's a hole there, which we just push that through. Mine is quite tight. Very tight. Okay, that's now there. With that, we're gonna need LM screws. You should have those screws with the previous issues saved. And just let's get one lined up. So that's both of them screwed in place. Now we need to do the opposite side. So that's the, let me just see, that's the left side, which just goes into that hole, again with LM screws. So those are secured in place, solid. So that's looking good. We're gonna need now to bring over a backup body. So this is our body. It's quite exciting. I'm hoping that this should go as easy as possible. Just making sure. So we have these parts that needs to go. Let's just line this up and then we take it from there. GM screws. So let's just get one side lined up. Hopefully I got it there. Okay, this side has now been screwed in place. So hopefully you could see that. It was this one and this one. So we're gonna just flip this over. So far it's going okay. No issues. And then we have the same, let's see, this way. Okay. So that's lined up, hopefully. So that's screwed in place. I would suggest get your thumb and just push that towards the up that was needed. Then it just screws, so it's not as difficult as it looks. So that's on now. So we need to just flip this over again. And we should have 2 screws. You can see where my fingers are, hopefully. One there and one there. Those are GM screws. And that's those 2 screwed in place. So now we have 2 smaller screws. These are AM, and it's the next hole just to the sides. So that's now screwed in place. So I think that's now installed. Let's just flip this over again. We're gonna need to get our window wipers. So we have our window wipers here. It is a D-shaped hole. I don't know if I could get that so you can see. So that will just fit over that. So let's just get this right. Hopefully that's right. And this one is, I seen there is a L and a, I think this is the left side. And again, the same, what we just did. So let's just get this correct. Okay, you can see there's a, this is flat on that side. And then we just line that up. and push through. So I think we can see, yeah. Hopefully you can see that. Where is it gone? There's that. That's the right. So this is the right one, what we just did. And there's a hole there and another hole there. It looks like like a D-shaped hole. So this is the right one going in. This is the left one. So that's those two now in position. And that's the end of our issue. I really was scared about this issue, but I did enjoy that. That was quite good. So let's get on with the next one. So this is issue 77. Now that caught my eye. Oh wow. Okay. I'm gonna tell you the truth. These issues with the light, but they flip up, a bit intimidating. But hopefully we could get through this nice and easy. Let's give it a shot. So I have located our LEDs. This is the M. You can see a longer one and a shorter one. So hopefully you can see that. So you're gonna need the shorter one. And this is the casing for the LED. So that's the left side. So you can see this is the angle that it needs to be plugged in just for now. So just push that in. Make sure it goes all the way through. Believe me, you don't want this to be loose and it drops out. So I believe now we have to get this is our lens cover. So it does show, I believe it says halogen. I don't know if you will be able to see that. Let me just see. I think you just about can make it out. There you go, somewhere there. So with that, just making sure that we have this the correct way, otherwise we're gonna be in trouble. So I believe it's like that, yeah. So it has with this part like that, and with the halogen, just push that through. And then let's make sure it's firmly in place. So that's now pushed in place. So now we have this part. Let's just turn it over like that. You'll see just this little cutout. And we're gonna, let's just get this correct. So this way, this part, get this screwed in place. So it's just like that. So I believe we have to just pull slightly our LEDs. This, okay. So now we're gonna need OP screws. I'm sorry, I'm a bit quiet. I'm really concentrating to get this correct. So I believe that's how that should be looking. Just having a look. Okay. Now we're gonna need this part so you can see it, this shape, which I believe should go slightly like that. So let's just get this a bit more pushed over. So I think that's the way that goes. So we have 2 TM screws. So let's just get this right again. So hopefully you can see the way this is gonna fit. So we have one this side. And another one the other side. So that seems to be moving, so I'm not sure if that's the way that should go. But now I think we need to get this on our car, so let's just bring that over. So we have our body back. So I have just this cloth that's supporting. And we're gonna be working on this side. So I believe this is our headlight that we was just working on. And this should just line up with these holes just there. With that, we need 2 AM screws. So those are now screwed in place. So now we have a light, which I believe goes down that channel. So we have this bracket that needs to just fit over this wire. I believe it just keeps it in place. And just screw the LM screws just here. So that's now screwed in place, and it's saying to test that, which it seems to be flipping all okay. So let's just tip this over. So, yep, I believe that's the way it should be working. So we're good. So that's the end of this issue. So let's get on with the next one. So this is issue 78. I have a funny feeling it should be the next side. Sorry, the other side. Which it is. Really, I thought it was going to be a lot harder, and I'm glad we did it like it should be done. So yeah, so let's get on with this issue. So we're gonna need our body back. I'm gonna try and get this into our camera. So we was working on these cables we're gonna need again. So this is the LED. And with that LED, we're gonna need to just, again, push it through, making sure that it goes all the way. And then we need to get our lens cover, which it says halogen. I believe it says halogen. Just that way, the correct way up. Let me just make sure. So it's this way, with this part like that. And I could see a fingerprint, which I need to wipe. Let's make sure it's nice and clean on the inside. It probably was me when I done that. So make sure it says halogen, which it does. Push this in place, and that's it. That's that part done. So now we're gonna need this part now. So like that, we will just line this up, and give me a second. I believe it's like that. So we're gonna need to tip And let me just make sure I don't want to get this. Okay, so it's like this. Yep. So let's just carefully fold these LEDs like that. And then really it follows the pattern, so you could see, can't really get that wrong. And then we're going to need 2 screws, which they are OP screws, just here. Make sure you don't over tighten them. Give that a little polish. We will polish this properly after. Now we're going to need this part. So we need this part. So hopefully you can see the direction it needs to go in. It just will screw on like that. And we're going to need, let me just locate our screw, a TM screw, which is this one. Let's get that in place. So that's now screwed in. Let's just get this cable flat as possible, like that. Now we're going to need to screw this in, which it just should line up just there. So that's 2 AM screws. So let's just get this now in place. So that's now screwed in. Now we're going to need this cable clip. And make sure it goes down that channel. And that's 2 LM screws. So that looks like it's nicely working. It's flipping up. So you can see that's flipping. I was so scared about this issue, and really it was quite enjoyable, and I really enjoyed that. Let me just try to get this a little bit more better in view. My cameras are terrible, so hopefully you can see this slightly. This one will flip up like that, and then we have another one just like that. So they're both working. Everything seems to be quite well working. Everything fitted. So with that in mind, I would like to say thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you could do us a big favor, most of our subscribers, our viewers have not subscribed, and it's only 1 click. It doesn't cost anything, and it helps us out a lot. So if you could please subscribe and hit that thumbs up, it will help us a lot. So look forward to seeing you all next time, and thanks again for watching. Bye.